I finally sat down and watched this movie, and I like it so much I watched it twice, and it's one of the few that makes me teary-eyed. One thing that I really like about this movie is the characters, and we first have to talk about the main character, Chihiro. In my opinion, Chihiro is one of the most accurate and realistic depictions of a child that got transported into another world and doesn't know what to do. Watching her wander around, crying because of the sheer shock of her situation, nervously walking when she visited Kamaji for the first time trying to get a job, confused when she got rejected, and being scared when Baba is seemingly angry at her. It all feels real. Especially the scene where after eating rice balls for the first time in a while, eating the one thing that comes from her real world, she just cries. The scene is just her sitting in the ground and we watch her taking it all in. I mean, she is just a kid, and even though the main character is just a kid, I really like her growth throughout this movie. She started off as a clumsy but kind person, just following orders around, and then she became this person that acts instinctively and becomes a sort of motherly figure. She learned about making decisions on her own, such as trying as hard as she can to help Haku and give the stem to the twin. Speaking of other characters, I really like how other characters are supportive of Chihiro, like almost all of them, even the frogs towards the end of the movie, and we see a gradually improved status of Chihiro in the bad house, where at first the ones being kind are these small black things, and then we see Kamaji saying good luck to Chihiro when she is gonna talk with Yubaba, and then Lin, who at first seems upset at the mere presence of Chihiro but then comes around to support her, and finally all the person in the bad house became happy for her when watching Chihiro pick the correct answer. I also want to talk about the important characters. I really like how they balance the important ones in a way where I understand what each of them do, their personality, and what their purpose in the story. Maybe the hard one to figure out is No Face. I'm not gonna pretend that I understand No Face 100%, but before that, let's talk about Haku. His character acts as a sort of mentor, if that makes sense. He is the guy who guides Chihiro throughout this movie. We see him giving instructions to her and supports her when she feels hopeless. But one thing that we all can feel when watching him is that his personality is the most human-like in this world, where we see him always protecting Chihiro and just being the human representation of this world. But when we see him from time to time, he does work with Yubaba, and the only reason we see him becoming this character who seemingly protects humans is because the human that he is protecting is Chihiro. The ending reveals that the human that he saves when he is just a river is Chihiro. So he protects her only because he has that connection with her. So does that make him a bad guy? Not really. Sure, we don't know if, let's say, another human got transported into this world. This time the human does not have the connection. Will Haku treat them the same? We don't know for sure, but we don't know his actions. The first scene we see of him, he immediately tried to make sure Chihiro escapes from this world, and that shows that compassion is instinctive. So I find it interesting how the ending of the show only truly concludes Chihiro's story, and Haku being kinda open-ended, if that makes sense. After we got the reveal, we don't know what Haku does after Chihiro escapes. We don't even know his relationship with Chihiro now. Does he ever meet her again? We never know. But the one character that got a complete conclusion though is No Face. Now, not gonna lie, I got kinda confused when watching this character. What does he represent? What is his purpose in this story? I don't even know what his personality is. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, at first it seems like he is good, but then he becomes bad trying to eat Chihiro, and then he becomes good again. And then I realized that this show puts a lot of importance on names. We see Chihiro got turned into sand. I mean, all of the people's name who work for Yubaba will change because that's her way of taking control of them. Time after time, we see the characters in this world making remarks of names, like Haku giving compliments to her name and how important their real name is in this movie. Their name is literally their anchor in this world. So following that logic, No Face is literally a character that has no face. Face meaning identity. In this whole movie, back from the start, we see him just standing around, kinda like he doesn't know what to do because no one is interacting with him. And then we see the first interaction of No Face in this movie with Chihiro, where Chihiro lets him in because he has no identity. He wants other people's identity, if that makes sense. Chihiro shows him kindness, and that's the first part of his identity. He is just imitating or mimicking people so that he have a face, an identity. And then we see him trying to help Chihiro, but the thing is, a kind person will not steal a bunch of these things. Heck, a kind person will not steal, period. So why does he steal? Because a part of his identity now is the bad house, which is full of greed and bad influences, which makes him behave this way. Simply put, No Face is just a mirror of the environment, right? And we see him becoming more bad as time goes on, and that identity now overshadows the kindness that Chihiro gave because it's one person versus an entire community. We see him chasing Chihiro out of the bad house, and luckily though, his identity got resetted when he ate the pill, and now we are back to square one again. no face interacting with Chihiro and just trying to behave and mimic Chihiro. So does no face forgotten the bad house incident? We never know. But the only thing that we do know that he is a mirror of his environment. Put him in a place that can reflect good, he will become good. Put him in Zeniba place where it has a healthier influence, he will become a good spirit. And now let's talk about the antagonist of this movie, which is Yubaba. Now I just want to simply state that when watching this character interacts with the world, she is just annoying to watch. I mean, that's a good thing because she's a villain, but sometimes it's just too much. It's okay though, it doesn't ruin the movie. I mean, she is meant to frustrate the watchers and she nails that. But I like how they put layers on her characters because sometimes we see her doing things that are good, such as just simply spoiling his baby or just keeping her promises when there's a contract or a deal. And that makes me wonder, is she really the bad guy? And the answer is yes, she is bad. Why do I even ask that question? And this section is becoming too long, so let's move on to the part that makes this movie alive, which is the aesthetics. I just want to say, Ghibli in its prime always delivers visually, and this movie's visuals is one of their best works, and because the world feels so alive, so magical, so fantastical, but it still feels realistic, if that's the right word. Every frame is full of details, even when it feels simple, even when it feels magical. You can see the attention to details in the background, to the lighting, and it's so appealing and so great to watch. Not to mention the scoring, soundtrack. I mean, I don't really need to explain this. The music in this movie is iconic for a reason. Every music supports our characters' actions. It adds more emotions to them, to an already emotional story. And also I really like the world building and the pacing. When Chihiro got transported into the spirit world, like after just only 30 minutes in there, we can already feel the world. We understand how this world works. When I watched this movie for the first time, I didn't really know what to expect because I was going in completely blind. But after the first Haku interaction, I just got completely hooked because the premise is so interesting to me. I also like how I cannot predict where the story goes. Yeah, sure, I can predict the part where Chihiro escapes this world, but I cannot guess how the story gonna be to get to that conclusion? I have no idea No Face is gonna be this kind of character. I thought he is just a kind but confused ghost. I don't know Yubaba has a twin, and the movie just suddenly throws that part in, but I mean, it works. It's really good. It has a really good story. It's simple in essence, but the execution is unique. And yeah, that's my experience watching this movie. I mean, it's a really good movie and I really like it. This makes me really intrigued to watch more Ghibli movies now because the only other Ghibli movies that I watch is none. So I will appreciate if you guys give me some recommendation. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.